with Tales of the Headdress, and I wanted to come and talk to you guys today about who I am, what I'm about, and why, and a little bit backstory about my hair loss and hair issues and things of that. So in 2006, my family, and that included my husband and I and our 6 children at that time, our family was living in Colorado and outside of Crested Butte, Colorado, right outside of there. And my son and his best friend drowned in an irrigation ditch by the houses. We had just moved in this place, so I had no clue it was there, and quite shocked to find out that it was there. So my son was in full cardiac arrest for over 80 minutes, and that's a very conservative number, 80 minutes, being that where we lived out in the country, you know, we were at least 8 to 9 minutes going really fast to the hospital. That would be time out there, and just so everything added in, my son was in full cardiac arrest for over 80 minutes, and his best friend who was with him that night passed that evening and did not survive. My son was revived, barely. He is, at this point, he is what's considered a pediatric critical care patient. And he is, he's vented, he's trached, he has a G-tube where we feed him. He has severe epilepsy. Basically kind of an injury like cerebral palsy. So, you know, he was under the water. My son was under the water for about 4 minutes total. And he suffered an anoxic event to the brain. And he, at some points, he was in a coma for a little bit after the accident. And he was in some vegetative states. It was, you know, this whole thing was very shocking to my family, to all of us. We all suffered, along with Jonah. Obviously, we're able to walk and talk and kind of a thing. He's not. But the post-traumatic trauma and stress affected everyone in our family different. And I had 6 kids, so that's a lot of kids. And they all experienced PTSD and the trauma differently. And it was a very big challenge for our entire family, to say the least. So at this point is when I started, and it wasn't immediately, but it was basically after my son's accident. I would say about a year after his accident, I started losing my hair, and it was slow at first. And then it started picking up, and it just got to the point where every time I was in the shower, more and more was coming out. And at this point, this was 2008, about 2008. I don't know, I was in my late 30s, and you know, I had several friends ask, you know, why don't you just shave your head and just wear, you know, go that way? And I try to explain to them, would you want to do that? Are you done? You know, I think that's easier said than done. And for me, I wasn't willing to go that route. I wasn't ready for that. So that's when I started using and finding different ways of alternative, another headdress for me, basically. And I call them headdresses because it's like, I just feel like it's all, what is the word that I'm looking for? Accessorizing in a way. And this is the clothes, the dressing that I put on my head. And that's the way I like to look at it. So that's what started my hair loss. And several years even into that, from that point on, my fibromyalgia and lupus set in. And so that's been 2 years ago, those diagnoses, and I've been to several doctors. You know, it was so, post-traumatic stress can cause you to lose your hair. And that accident was so, you know, it was so painful that many of my doctors are not for certain if it was the chicken or the egg, basically, what came first. Was it the accident, or was this, you know, she was going to test positive for these things. She had inflammation issues in her body, and, you know, was predisposed to that kind of sort of thing anyway. So, you know, anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't look at it anymore in that kind of way at all. I love my headdresses. I love my hair. My hair naturally was natural curly, and I mean curly. And I love this. I love this just as much or more. As a matter of fact, I get to have the hair I wanted all along that I couldn't get my natural curly hair to do. So I'm actually feel like I'm winning in the end. A much bigger race. I'm winning. So anyway, my son is still alive, and we take care of him at home. It's been 11 years, and he is just an absolute angel, a gift from God, total angel. So sweet, and he's just adorable, and I've just learned so much from him. Honestly, this whole journey has been learning one thing after another, as well as anyone else in their journeys. It's been hard, and some years are harder than others. And here I am. And so from what I want to do with this is support. I want to advocate, support, and help other women who are dealing with hair issues, hair loss. I just want to support each and every one of you and encourage anybody I can. I'm a huge advocate. And that's part of my story. So in the rest of this video, you're going to see, someone asked me the other day, how do you bleach, or not bleach, but how do you seal your knots? And so in the rest of the video, I'm showing you how I do that, and also too what I use and how often I do that. So thanks guys, and thanks for following me. I so appreciate it. Okay, so this is a demonstration of what I do when I want to seal my knots. I take this, the blasting freeze spray, Screaming Hold, and I spray all over the lace part, and it's going to get really sticky, but just like that. And I do this when I get the headdress in, then I do it after each wash and dry. And I'm gonna let that sit. You can also take a hair dryer to this and dry it that way much quicker than I'm about to put her on the mannequin head and let her sit for the night. But you can use a hair dryer if you want to do it quickly, because that's really all there is to it, is just to get all over the lace front, let it dry. It's gonna feel a little bit harder. Let it dry, and that seals the knots and helps prevent breakage and shedding.